today present with us, and we are eagerly waiting to listen to his side of the story. So let's begin our program. I would like to call Mr. Rohit Bajpai, General Manager, the Sheraton Grand Palace, to welcome everyone.
Namaskar and welcome everyone to this beautiful event. I was just sitting with Mr. Tripathi and saying that there is a knack in Tripathi men to write and express themselves in a unique way which no one in the world can. Since I was a child, I used to read Surikant Tripathi Niraladi, and of course when we grew up we read Amish Tripathi, and now we have a new Tripathi on the block who is enchanting all of us with his words and expressions. Lovely to have you, sir. Welcome, and we are very privileged to have you amongst us this evening. And of course, the usual lovers of art and the people who appreciate better things from Indore, I welcome all of you to this lovely program. And we are very, very privileged at Sheraton to have small but yet qualitative gatherings like this, because not everything is about shosha and glamour and food every time. There are finer things to life which gentlemen like him bring to us, and whenever we get an opportunity, thanks to Ms. Unnati Singh ji and the foundation, we always are very eager to jump at that opportunity. A lot of people ask me, "Ye sab kyun karte ho? What does it give you?" Everything doesn't have to give something. Some things are done to be done. So thank you, sir. Heartfelt welcome to you. Lovely to have you with us. I have touched a few things that you have written from Kaliyog and Dalal's street. Very interesting and very, very impressive to have an investment banker turning into a storyteller, which he says is in his blood. So thank you once again, and heartfelt welcome to all of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Once again, a very good evening and a very warm welcome to all of you. On behalf of Prabha Khaitan Foundation, we are very grateful to each one of you for taking out time and being a part of us and joining in such an insightful inaugural session of the Right Circle. I am Surbhi Dhupar, Ehsaas Woman of Indore. Again, a warm welcome. The Right Circle, which is a cross-country platform for writers in the English language, is an initiative of the Prabha Khaitan Foundation. These sessions are structured around the life and works of author, followed by an interaction with the audience, which we all are looking forward to. The hospitality partner of the Right Circle in Indore is the Sheraton Grand Palace, and the print media partner is Nai Duniya. It is supported by Shri Simin and organized in association with the Ehsaas Women of Indore. The Prabha Khaitan Foundation is a Kolkata-based non-profit trust and eminent by the late Dr. Prabha Khaitan. She was an eminent literature enthusiast, cultural activist, and philanthropist in the 1980s. The foundation stands as a passionate advocate for Indian art, culture, and literature, exerting its influence across more than 60 cities globally. I would like to share that there are a few protocols we follow. We like to start our events on time. All our events are by invitation only. And as we cater to a very niche audience of around 30 to 35 people, we appreciate early confirmations. Today, we are very elated to have with us a very captivating author, Mr. Anurag Tripathi. A very warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
Anurag Tripathi is an alumnus of the Indian School of Business with a course in Advanced Creative Writing from the University of Oxford. He has also done a master class in screenwriting from Aaron Sorkin. His debut novel on the art market in India, Kaliyug, was nominated for the Raymond Crossword Book Awards in 2017. Dalal Street, his second, was called the Indian equivalent of the iconic Liar's Poker by stock market veteran Mr. Manish Chaukhani. The Goa Gambit. His third novel takes the readers into the seedy underbelly of Goa's gambling scene. And I believe in Indore, sir, we all play cards like on another level. So we are looking forward to listen to you. Anurag, it's a pleasure to have you with us. In conversation with Anurag is Mrs. Suchitra Sajid Dhanani, our prominent Ehsaas Woman of Indore, a multifaceted personality, a hotelier, a philanthropist, an artist, and a therapist. I would request you both to take your seats, please. Now, without further ado, I request Suchitra ji to start the conversation, and a gentle reminder to everyone to please put your phones on silent mode. Thank you. Over to you, Suchitra ji.
So good evening, everybody, and let me begin. Salty Oberoi. I hope it rings some bells. I'm sure it does. So in the early 90s, Salty Oberoi, Nepal had the first casino in around India, you know, and people sort of wanted to go to that casino. And Nepal, having a country which never needed a visa, so people went there, and for the thrill of it, for the enjoyment of all it. We Indians were exposed to Vegas casinos through Hollywood movies. The glamour, the glitter, and in the middle of nowhere, mafia had created this city, Vegas, and apart from the lights, the glitter was created, the glamour was created by the Hollywood stars. I happened to visit Nepal, on one of my trips to Nepal, I happened to visit Salty Oberoi and the casino. I didn't know to play any card games or anything, so what I did was I took exchanged some money for some coins, and I went to the slot machine, which was the easiest. I inserted a coin in the slot machine, and bingo, on the first go, I had a jackpot. I hit the jackpot. And the machine started raining coins. I was so thrilled, I can't explain that in words. I thought I was the luckiest person in the whole world, and today I'm going to win the whole casino. So I went back to the cashier, and I exchanged the coins with tokens. And roulette being the easiest, I suppose, I went there and thinking that I'm going to win. But I lost. I lost, my luck ran out, and I lost. Until till date, I hate that jackpot in the Salty Oberoi casino. I never sort of visit a casino ever. I try not to, because the thrill is too much. And to tell you all, that thrill is what lures the common man to the casino. The thrill, the atmosphere, the suspense, the glitter, all of that. And after Salty Oberoi, people used to visit, Indians used to visit that Nepal for the sake of Salty Oberoi casino. But then very near to home, we had the Goa offshore casinos. And people started flocking Goa like anything. I know of people who go to Goa in the evening, play during the night, and they are back home the next day morning. So, you know, it is very easy to and of course the Vegas stories also had a big impact on the psyches of Indians. And the glitter and the glamour attracts them all. And I think our author, Anurag ji, has hit the chord very well in his book, The Goa Gambit. So the story of thrill, greed, politics, politicians, glitter, and the murky dirt around and behind the glitter. Everything that shines is not gold, as they say. And in his book, everything is explicitly written, the characters that he has written about. It's a great reading, and without any further delay, let's begin our conversation with Anurag ji. So my first question to you would be about your life in India and how it all began. You have also dedicated this book to your dad. You say your father is the original writer. So what is all that, from ISB to Oxford for writing course, and to a writer? So please, could you?
Yes. So in my family, everyone is a storyteller. And that's why this novel is dedicated to my father. It's interesting when me, my father, and my younger brother sit together in a room, then it's problematic because nobody wants to listen. Everybody speaks. So it's been with us for a long time, and I think the writer was waiting to come out, and I was always waiting for an opportunity. And that opportunity in my life came in 2013 when my wife got a good break in Singapore. She was also in a corporate job, and I was on the investment banking side in India. And when she got this break, she came to me. She says, what do you think? Should we move to Singapore? And if we do, then you will have to leave your job and you will have to look for something new. And I told her that investment banking is all about networks, and all the networks I had were in India. So why would somebody take me as a managing director of a bank in Singapore when all the people I knew, all the rich people I knew were sitting in India? So it was something we thought through, and eventually came to the decision that we will move to Singapore and I will give up my job and I will see where life takes me. And so there we are. I'm still in Singapore. It's been 11 years now. She's doing very well in her corporate job. She's very ambitious, and to be fair, I was never very ambitious on the job side. I used to work because it used to pay my bills. I wasn't very passionate about it. If you told me back in the day, 10, 12 years back, to talk about my job, I don't think I could speak much, except for the fact that it used to pay very well. And that used to pay the bills. So it wasn't actually a very difficult decision once we figured out financially how we will be placed with only one person working and not two of us. I think it was an easy choice for me to sit back and for her to take the lead. And so this opportunity came, and then the decision was, what do I do with my life? And as I mentioned, the storyteller was there and I had ideas, and I thought, okay, why don't I try my hand at writing a novel? So my parents were initially quite distraught that from investment banking I had suddenly given up everything and I was sitting back home and writing a novel. They thought it was a fad. Probably in 2-3 months I'll give up on it. But as things would have it, I chose art as a subject. And there's a saying, a quote by Dan Brown, wherein he says that if you're writing, then you should write about a topic that you know nothing about. It keeps you excited, it allows you to research that topic, and you learn along the way. And it ensures that you write and learn, so it keeps you going. So I took that advice and I wrote on art, and frankly, in 2013, I didn't know much about art. So I researched a good 1.5 years before I started writing about this. And luckily for me, in 2016, I met Rupa, my first publisher. And I showed them this novel, and they were very excited because this novel, Kala Yuga, allows you to appreciate the intricacies of the art industry without reading these hefty books, which I had to read, so as to bring these intricate matters out in this novel. And it's done so as a thriller, and you'll enjoy the story, and as you go through the story, you will also learn a lot about the art industry. My take to the owner of Rupa was that after a person has read Kala Yuga, he can have a very nice 30-minute cocktail conversation with any art enthusiast in the world. That book gives you that. So this is how writing began. I did my business school, you mentioned, from ISB. I started working with Arthur Andersen. I'm a tax consultant as well, and then I got into private banking, retail equity broking, and finally investment banking. So the only thing I've learned in my life is how to make money. Make money on money. And that is something that still excites me. I do a lot of investing, both public and private markets, sitting in Singapore. Singapore is a great place because it's a very tax efficient place. And this is a passion. When I start writing, then for the next 2-3 years, everything else sits back and I get into this. But as things would have it, this novel was written in 2019 end, just before COVID began. And that's when my last novel, The Last Street, was launched. Unfortunately, I think we were into the book launch only 3 or 4 months before COVID came, and then everything stopped. So I had a lot of time at my hand to write this novel. And in 2020, 23, I gave it to my publishers, Neogi Books, who had also published The Last Street. And they got all excited, and then we edited it, and that's why it's here today. Between you and me, the first edition, actually is not the right word. They don't do editions now, it's batch printing, but it's already sold out, so it's gone for printing again. Yeah.
In fact, I was very curious, you have already answered my question, that did your parents support you? Because a writer never makes money, as you put just before the program, we were talking and you said a writer never makes money. So you are very much into investment banking, from what I know. And the topics of all three of your books are very volatile. So I'm very curious to know whether the books, the topics, you find the topics or topics get to you? Because all the three topics are like on some or the other, pot boiler, I can put that.
So I keep my eyes and ears open and the topics find me. That's the truth. Except for The Last Street, because it's based on my own experience as the CEO of an equity broking outfit in India. Kalayug, somebody very close to me bought an art painting from an auction which turned out to be a fake. And that's how the story started, because then I started digging in and I found that there's a lot of fake out there in this world, especially in the art world. The fact that the art world is unregulated, I think a lot of people exploit it. So these are stories. For the Goa Gambit, for example, I was on a flight to Goa in 2016 when this gentleman who's sitting next to me wasn't carrying any luggage, and that's what got me talking to him. And he had a man purse on him. He told me that he was carrying 2 lakh rupees inside it. That's all he needed to go to Goa. So I asked him, what do you do? And he says that I'm a farmer. And I said, and what are farmers doing in Goa? He says, well, we are 40 of us in the flight. So why are you surprised? So I said, no, I am surprised. I'm very intrigued. I didn't know the farmers are visiting Goa. So he said, we don't visit Goa, we visit the casinos in Goa. And then I got talking to him, and I found that around Delhi NCR, all the farmers were selling their land to real estate developers. Gurgaon was expanding, and people were making a lot of money. And there were villages where these farmers had never seen even a lakh of rupees in their life. And suddenly they were given 10 crores, 15 crores for their land. So that kind of money. So, when you have never seen money in your life, you don't understand what saving is, because you never had money to save. Now suddenly somebody gives you 10 crores. So what comes naturally to you is spending. So these people were splashing money all over the place. They would go to Emporio, which is a luxury mall in Delhi, buy Rolexes, not 1, 3 at a time. And the best Pradas and Land Cruisers came to the village. These villages didn't even have roads, but that didn't matter. These cars were standing there. And I kept talking to him, and he told me that finally after 6, 7 months, I think the casinos heard of this area which had suddenly come in a lot of money. And these casino agents were sent.
That's a very interesting story, I must say.
Yeah.
I mean, you must tell that.
Yes. So the casino agents arrived in these villages, and they got hold of the senior influencers, and a junket was organized. And the tickets were bought and hotels were booked for them, and they were taken to Goa to see the casino world. Now these villages, till then, their only source of entertainment was perhaps a dilapidated movie hall, single screen movie hall. And suddenly to be thrown in that glamorous world of casinos, they were completely overwhelmed. Alcohol, gambling, and sex. Now these 3 things I say even gods haven't stood a chance against them. If you go back to Mahabharata, right?
Actually.
So what chance would mortal men have against these vices? So obviously they were completely overwhelmed, and then after a couple of days in Goa, they came back to the village and they spoke about their conquest of paradise called Goa. And this influenced everybody else who hadn't gone. They felt left out. So suddenly the next week, 20 villages went there, and then 100, and so on. And these casino agents were like termites. They went from one village to the next till that entire region was hooked on to gambling and prostitution and money. And So this is a story I heard, and this got me hooked. I had 2 hours in that flight from Delhi to Goa, and I landed in Goa finally, so I said I must go and visit a casino to check out the story. So I went to a casino, to 2-3 casinos actually, and I found that around 25 to 30% of the people on the casino floor were actually farmers from the hinterland. Actually the largest community, single community I think in the casinos even today in Goa are farmers. So this is how the Goa gambling began.
So you have researched a lot for this book, yeah? I have read somewhere that addiction of any kind may be genetic. So what makes a compulsive gambler?
So I think greed comes very naturally to us. That's why it's one of the original 7 sins. Yes, and despite it being a sin, we being taught by our parents not to be greedy and selfish, and we telling our children not to be greedy and selfish, but still it exists. Every opportunity we get, we grasp it. And gambling, I think it's in our genes. Greed is in our genes, and from there on, gambling is within our genes. And that's the reason I'm very surprised, Suchitra, that you kept yourself away from the casino in Nepal.
Because that first time that I went there, the thrill was too much. And a person can easily get lured and addicted to such kind of, places. So it's better to be away from them.
Yes. So another side to it is that coming back to the original story that we're talking about of these farmers, see a person who never had money, he suddenly has a lot of money. So he doesn't value that money. So from these farmers' perspective, the money that they were losing, it didn't matter to them. They had no value for it. They didn't know what to do with it. Very frankly, majority of their lives they had survived without it, right? But what they were being offered in return for that money is something which they had never experienced before. And I think that is the reason why they kept going back and again. Though I did not ask the gentleman sitting next to me if he had won often at the casino, but I can assure you he had not, because I know of very few people who win very often. And if you are one of those people who win very often, there are such people. They are called people with superior skills in gambling terminology. Casinos don't like them, and when you win too often, then they even ban you from entering them. So the most successful casino players are all sitting outside the casino talking about the casinos. And I met a few of them, so some of those interesting stories are part of this novel.
So before we divulge into, your characters, the characters of the book, casinos are from outside we think it's very nothing at all, but there is a lot of dirt, as you put, behind the glitter. So what kind of things go on in the casino scene? I mean, people are really going to the casinos, understanding. I just don't get it.
So I think it's not fair to actually put it on the casinos. Underbelly of a city is a function of the city itself. Goa being a tourist destination, there were 10 million people who visited Goa last year. Any large tourist destination in the world, whether it's Phuket, Bangkok, Goa, even Singapore, everybody has an underbelly. So underbelly, I think, is more a function of the, it's a lifestyle choice, it's a nightlife. You'll have to provide a nightlife if you have 10 million tourists coming to you. And part of the nightlife, unfortunately, delves into the underbelly. So it's more a function of that. Casinos are an integral part of the nightlife of Goa. Today, I think casinos are an entertainment destination. They are no longer a gambling den as they used to be 30, 40 years back. And you will be surprised if you go to a casino, the number of young couples who come there. It is no longer a male bastion. You see, I will not say equal, but probably 25–30% of the crowd will be women at the casino. And women play very actively. I mean, so it's no longer as it's pointed out to be. And casinos also, before the funding, used to be underworld money or gambling money, and this is a story that we've heard from people. But now casinos, a lot of them are listed. The largest casino in India is listed. So it's actually, you can buy a stock of the casino. They have access to capital from the frontline banks. So gone are the days
one more banking opportunity for you?
Yeah, I mean, bankers have already been funding it. The problem is in India is that even before you start earning, the government starts taxing it. So that's a bigger issue. They should, I think, allow these opportunities to first grow and then devise a way to tax. I think somewhere we are probably getting a very socialist, leftist bent of mind. I remember I've lived 2 years in Paris in between. And somebody had told me in France that it's almost a sin to be rich. So I hope that doesn't happen to India.
So going towards your the characters of the book, you know, how real are these characters? Jay Shah, the protagonist, Pankaj Adhikari, the politician, Ruby. I'm very intrigued by that character because I think it's a lady boy.
Yeah.
So how lady boys we have heard in Thailand, they are very, you know, we see them on the roads also. How are these lady boys in? Are there a lot of them in Goa, and are these characters true to life? Or please throw some light on that.
So Jay Shah, the protagonist of the novel, he is a ex-poker player. Poker is a game of skill, not only a game of chance. You are given cards and then you play based on your skill or based on your perception of the cards that the other person holds. So it's a game of skill, and this character is very real. He's based on a couple of people that I've met in actual life in the casinos who used to play large numbers on the poker table there, and they were also generally good in other card games like blackjack. So very real character. He's not based on a single person, but probably 3 or 4 different people I met. I cherry picked some of their attributes and created this character.
He's not seen too much in the book, is it?
Yeah. No, he's not.
Yeah,
he's
so
not.
that is very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with a poker player, that he is not very active on the table, but he manages the table. So Jay Shah is actually managing everyone around him in the novel without being at the forefront, and you realize that as you move towards the end of the novel. Then Pankaj Adhikari, that's a fictional character in entirety.
He is too dirty or...
Yes, so the thing is that when you have a very strong protagonist or a very intelligent, very smart protagonist, which Jay Shah is, then you also have to create a very strong antagonist, a nemesis. Otherwise, your story will fall flat in the middle section of the novel. So a protagonist is only as good as the person he's winning over, and if that person is weak, then you will not enjoy the protagonist. So to bring out the best of Jay Shah, I had to create Pankaj Adhikari, who is an equal adversary. And Pankaj Adhikari, as I mentioned, is fictionalized, is a fictionalized character. He is not as smart or as good a poker player as Jay Shah is, but his strength lies in the fact that he can exponentially raise the stakes of the game. For Jay Shah, it is a game of money, but for Pankaj Adhikari, if Jayesh loses, he can lose his life. So that's what Pankaj Adhikari brings on the table. You can win with him, but if you lose, then you lose your life. And that allows me to raise the stakes to a different level and give you that, edge of the seat thriller when you see how close Jay Shah is in various courses of time in the novel in losing his own life. So that's Pankaj Adhikari for you. As far as Ruby goes, I don't think transgender characters are in a large number in Goa. This was my brainchild. And as rightly mentioned, lady boys are very, you can find them everywhere in Thailand. Very frankly, this character is based from Chiang Mai in the story. The backstory takes you to Chiang Mai in Thailand, where this character comes from. And I had gone to Phuket in 2017-18, when I had hired, like, I think 4 or 5 times lady boys to interview them to create this character. And one thing that I found common in all of them, which became central to the character, was the fact that, first of all, does everybody understand what a lady boy is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a man who feels that he's a woman. So it's a woman who feels she is trapped in a man's body. That's a lady boy. And they love men because they think they're a woman. So, and they dress up like women, and they take estrogen to become women. And then they have something called elder sisters, who is basically another lady boy who has been through the entire process of transition, who helps the newcomer and takes her through the entire process of transition. So in the life of a lady boy, her sister is closer to her than her real mother, because she takes her through the entire transition process. So this is the character of the lady boy. I interviewed a few of them, and then I found out that one of their biggest longings and major motivation in life was the fact that they never found love. They were always exploited for sex, but not love, and they wanted companionship. So, so I created this character and based this character in Goa. So I took my protagonist to Thailand, he saw her, and as is usually the case, most men don't realize that they are with a lady boy, they think it's a woman. So he thought she was a woman, and he offered her a job in his casino. And as is usually the case, she never told him that she was a lady boy, because of the fear that he might not agree to take her if he found out that she was actually a transgender character. So that's how the character is, and there is a love story in the novel based on this character because of their motivation. I think that's been done the first time in India. I very frankly wrote this character in 2018, and I thought I'll be the first one to break a transgender character in India. But then I think Secret Games came on Netflix, and they had a transgender character, so I was beaten to that. But I had written this character before that.
I must say that this book is an absolute potboiler, and you never know, one fine day you must, it will be taken up as a Bollywood movie or something, you know. So many characters, so much greed, so much politics in the book.
So I've been informed as of yesterday that MAMI, which is the Mumbai Academy of Movies, they are looking at the novel. I hope something comes out.
In fact, this book has gone for a second printing, so let's clap for Anurag. I want to know, I have two questions before we take questions from the audience. I want to know which of the characters is closest to your thoughts, or I must say heart, while writing you enjoyed the most?
I think the transgender character, it's a very, very interesting character.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting character, it's a very real character. And the motivations are so strong in the character. And you will find when you are reading the novel, you will feel very strongly for the character, where the character comes from. It's a very real character. And I'm telling you that I have put in a lot of effort in creating that character and bringing it across. One thing I was told, and this would, it was a shocker when I was told. So when they are soliciting in the market, lady boys, I was told by them that actual women don't stand a chance in front of them. And I asked him why. All of them told me the same thing. I said, why? He says, because actual women don't realize what they have. And our desire to be a woman is so strong that we put every effort into that. So
such an interesting theory, and
yes,
I think it must have come out in one of your researches for the book.
Yes. And so you will find lady boys in Thailand. The general thing is that if she's above 5'6", then she's a lady boy, and the prettiest ones are all lady boys. So yes.
So one more question before I hand over the mic to the audience. Your story up till now and what you have written and 3 books down the line, you are quite a motivation to young writers. Like I was talking to you, you sit in the front of a paper and I want to put my thoughts there, but somehow I'm not able to do it. So what would you like to say to such writers, or the budding writers, young writers? Please, could you say some words?
So I am part of the Singapore writers group, and we have a lot of writers there. And I find that most of the writers want to remain in this stage where they're struggling to write. So they don't want to finish the project.
And why is that?
I think the angst of being a writer is good. A lot of people
With
want to be in that
Chola and all.
Chola and all, and I'm trying, I'm struggling. We meet once a week to talk about our struggles. So somewhere it becomes reinforcing where you don't want to finish the project and you always want to remain in that stage of struggle.
But all of them may not be as lucky as you are, because you're also a banker, so you have something to fall back on. This is your passion, right? You told me about it.
Yes.
So, you know,
most of them actually are teachers who also write, or they are creative writing professors and things like that. I think first thing first, you should get that manuscript out of the way, the first manuscript. I think most of people that I have met, they procrastinate a lot on what they have written and they keep going back on it. And that's not the way to go, because your story is not moving forward. Write the story and then we will edit. Because I can tell you, I can open any of these novels and start editing right now, and I will find something to make it better.
You had some tussle tiff with your editor in the first book. She cut a lot of, edited it?
Yes, I had put in a lot of information in the first book because I was new to the process. And I had read so much about art market, I was so excited, so I put it all there. and the novel became like, so theoretical. In fact, some of the reviews, if you read on Kala, you still say that. Though we did cut a lot of it out, and when the editor was cutting it, I was most upset because I said, I have read so many books, I have researched so much, why are you taking it out of the novel? So that's, we are all self-indulgent, so it happens. But as you move forward, you realize that anything that does not move the story forward, it doesn't need to be there, you have to throw it out, irrespective of how much you like it. At times I've thrown characters out, which were great characters that didn't make sense to the story. So it's very, very practical, no emotions attached to it. But yeah, coming back to the advice, you get that story out. I think that's the most important advice I can give anyone. Second thing is, once you have the story out, only show it to people who are very close in your circle. Because you want at that stage constructive feedback. People are going to judge you on it. This is just your first draft. This is not the final story. What I write even today and what actually gets published is a huge difference. People will judge you, you give it to somebody who doesn't give constructive feedback or doesn't understand the writer's journey, he might dissuade you because he doesn't like what you have written. And the third thing is that once you've gotten feedback from your close circle and you think you're ready, then you have to get a professional editor. This is not a job which can be edited yourself. Get a professional editor. Only once you professionally edited your novel can you actually approach an agent. An average agent in India today gets 20 manuscripts every week. So if you give him or her any reason to throw it out of the bin, she will, or he will. So that's the reason it needs to be edited. And yeah, that's it.
So we had such an interesting conversation with Anurag ji. And you're such a vocal person, and you've thrown so much, you've given so much information. I'm sure that we have our audience here who would like to talk to you, ask some questions. So I would hand over the mic to Unnati.
Thank you, Suchitra ji. It is wonderful. Today everyone is filled with so many questions, I think. Lot of curiosity about book also. Okay, so go and read at home and you can meet all the characters. So, any question coming in your mind is most welcome. Yeah, please.
My question is, like, out of your 2-3 characters, who actors would you prefer to act on your novel, and who is your priority and a choice from your heart that can do well and act well on your character?
Who should play Jay Shah?
Yes, Jay Shah, Pankaj Adhikari, and also Ruby. All three.
And Kumar Saurabh.
Kumar Saurabh is
very interesting.
Yes. So, okay. I think I like Farooq Akhtar a lot. I think he should play Jay Shah. For Pankaj Adhikari, unfortunately, it has to be, I think, somebody like, well, Amitabh Bachchan is too old, but probably a younger Amitabh Bachchan 20 years back would have done a great job. Jill could have been played by Tabu. I always think of her, Tabu and Amitabh. Yeah. And Well, the current youngster characters, I don't know much. I think maybe the transgender character can be played by Katrina Kaif. Yeah. This question was asked to me.
Why that? Yeah. Why did her name crop up in your mind?
No, I think she's versatile. Yeah, she's versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's versatile and she's beautiful. So, yeah.
And she's tall.
She's
And
tall.
she's tall.
In this novel? I'll play Jaisha.
Yes.
Everyone's favorite, I think. So, audience, you want to ask something? Yeah, please.
Hi. I haven't read any of the books yet, but I am, after hearing Suchitra ji and you, I think I will read them all. A common factor I can see there is money in each one of them, in one way or the other. When I was younger, I used to always ask my dad why I'm not looking into investments, and he used to tell me it's a gamble. So your last two books, I suppose, I mean, as an investment banker, how would you relate it to gambling? In what sense? Or, I mean, of course, the investment options now are much safer, but...
Okay, so I think life is a gamble, not only investment. I mean, a roll of a dice, if you ask me what is the single word that comes to my mind when I think about a roll of dice, it's life.
Yeah.
Every day we make choices, and those choices have repercussions, right, which we have to live with. It's a gamble every day. It might not be related to money-related choices, but whatever choices we make, they always have repercussions which come and bite us later on, or give rise to moral dilemmas in our life. So that's something we do every day. As far as money is concerned, greed and fear are two sides of the coin, right? So you have to balance them out. If there was no fear, then we would all go and gamble. And if the fear is too high, then we would not gamble at all.
It's too high.
Yes. So I think life is about choices which actually are two sides of the coin, in a view. Though I write it in a limited context to greed and ambition, all my novels are about greed and ambition, okay, broadly speaking. But I think they relate to much wider choices that we make in our lives. Greed I like because it's a very strong motivation, despite being so sinful, it has survived forever. And it comes naturally to each one of us. So that's why I like exploring these two strong motivations in my novels, and I place it around different themes, different worlds, where I can highlight how people say they are and how they actually act, giving rise to those moral dilemmas, which is true for each one of us in our lives. So I just play it out in these different worlds, where I think these aspects can be very clearly highlighted to bring out these dilemmas.
Great.
Yeah.
So I think very interesting question is coming from that.
Hi, good evening. I'm Shweta Verma, and it was lovely listening to you. I wanted to ask that through your journeys as an author, any interesting tidbit that came to you during your research that brought a sort of epiphany, something that you had not thought of, that was not heard of so far through the research? Because for an author, research is always, the foundation of everything. So it would be interesting to know that.
So it happens every time that I start writing a novel that something new comes about which actually gets me hooked, and I start researching on it. I mean, this chance meeting on a flight to Goa, who would have imagined that farmers form the largest community of gamblers in the casinos of Goa? I mean, that was very enlightening. You tell the politicians they will not agree to it because they don't want to agree to it. But that's the reality even today. You can fly down to Goa tomorrow and visit any of the casinos and you will see it for yourself. They stand out. But they are the ones who have the money to blow, and most of the time you'll find them drunk because they're not able to manage their alcohol, and that's the reason they lose so much money there. So the first novel, when I started writing, I had heard an interesting story of somebody going to an auction to buy a Manjeet Bawa which had remained unsold. And he being a negotiator, he went to the auction house the day after the auction and bought the painting for 50% of the price because it remained unsold. And to cover himself, he got a authentication certificate. Manjeet Bawa had died, but his elder brother was still alive, from the elder brother, saying that he had seen him make this painting in front of him. So these certificates have a lot of value. And then he hung it on his wall and called everybody for Diwali party and showcased the painting. Then somebody told him that, you know what, I'm telling you this painting is a fake. And he said, what are you saying? I have a certificate from the elder brother. He said, okay, why don't you go and take it to this gallery who are the authority on Manjeet Bawa. He says, who runs the gallery? And it was Manjeet Bawa's daughter. Oh. So it's all in the family. So yeah, so Manjeet Bawa's daughter is the authority on all his paintings, and if Manjeet Bawa's daughter says that this painting is real, then it's real, and if she says it's a fake, then it's a fake. So anyway, this guy pulls out his SUV the next day in the morning and he puts the painting and he takes it to the gallery. And the moment she looks at it, he said, this is a painting which was unsold at the auction. He says, yes, it's a fake. So he said, what do you mean it's a fake? Your uncle's given me a certificate. So he said, uncle must have had 2 whiskeys with you and taken money for it. He said, yes, he did. She says, then he give you any certificate. He said, now, what do I do? He said, nothing, you lost money. So, this is a story I heard when I started writing the first novel, and I found out that it's an unregulated sector, and everybody is out there to make money. And as a result, well, fakes, they are not the norm, but a large number of fakes are there in the market. In the same study when I was doing, it's very interesting, 9 artists in India were recognized as the Navratnas. Rabindranath Tagore, his brother Rabindranath Tagore, Amrita Shergill, and so on. I'm forgetting the names of the other 6.
Raja Ravi Verma.
Raja Ravi Verma was there, yes. And these artists, when they were recognized as Navratnas, they meant to, give them accolades. But what actually happened was that they banned the paintings of these artists from leaving the country. This was done in 1970s by Indira Gandhi government, because they wanted this was now the national cultural heritage of India. So how can it go abroad? This is the same time when contemporary artists were coming up in India. And so these artists, the contemporary artists, got access to foreign auction houses and foreign money, whereas these poor 9 artists who were supposed to be recognized, it went the other way around because they didn't have any foreign capital chasing them. As a result of which, the contemporary artists, whether it was Hussain or whatever, their paintings went through the roof. Because suddenly these 9 artists and their entire oeuvre was not available in the international market. This novel, Kalayug, is based on that, the mispricing between the 2 markets. So you often come off things which are very interesting, and then it leads to...
Still we can see a lot of oilography of Raja Ravi Verma in market, which are fake.
Yes.
So like people don't understand how to identify them.
Yes.
So certain galleries who are authorized tell them how to identify and take it like that. Few more questions. We can take one last question. Anybody want to? Yes, ma'am.
We like you, but whenever you are kind of showing your first draft of any piece of your writing, you should have your very close-knit circle. Sometimes you observe that the close-knit people are more judgmental than people outside the circle, because the outside the circle people would be having a neutral viewpoint about you, or maybe the craft which you are bringing in front of them. But let's say if you are sharing your craft with the people who are already having an impression about you, so there are possibilities that there will be a little more judgmental than others. So what should be the approach in this particular process?
What you have hit the nail on the spot. What I meant by the close circle was not necessarily familial close circle. What I meant by the close circle are people who have been part of this journey with you. and who struggle with you and who have been there from the first day supporting you to become a writer. It's not necessarily people in your family. Most of the times they are not. It's a fact. Every time you will walk on a path which is not the proven path, okay, people who love you naturally tend to dissuade you from walking on that path, because that's how we are. It's not that they don't love you, but because they love you too much, they don't want you to meander on a path which is not a proven path, because you are taking a risk, and risk doesn't come naturally to us. So yes, my own parents, when I wrote Kala Yug, for a good 2 years it took them to come about that I had, given up on a, I think, 8-figure, 9-figure salary, and I was doing this, which didn't pay anything. And I was at the, not the launch, but post the novel launch, we were doing a book reading at the Gymkhana Club in Delhi, and well-attended event. And there my father, me, and my father's boss had come to hear me out. And after the book reading and the conversation happened, we were standing in a corner drinking a glass of beer. And my father's boss told my father that we are now in the company of an intellectual. And he meant me, not my father. And that was the day when my father came around. I saw a substantial change in him, and he started recognizing what I had done. So it was a good 2.5 years after I had begun on this path. So agreed.
A lot of you might be having this kind of bonding with your parents.
Yeah. Especially he was a IRS officer,
yeah.
cadre officer.
Yeah.
So actually coming from.
You want to ask some last question before I take hands? Yeah. Yeah, yes, you can. Most welcome.
Sorry, being from the education sector, curiosity always gets the better of me. So, who are some of the authors that you have gotten inspired by? Maybe their stories or their writing styles, something that you might have maybe subconsciously or consciously gotten inspired by?
So I grew up reading thrillers, and that's the reason it comes probably naturally to me. When I was in class 6th, 7th, I started reading James Hadley Chase. I wrote a lot of them. Yeah, too early, yeah. My father actually gave me the first one. I used to like the cover pages, and Mr. Hyden watched them, but then I started reading them. And then I grew up, I read a lot of Frederick Forsyth and Jeffrey Archer and Sidney Sheldon. It's interesting that all my 3 novels compete with Jeffrey Archer now when they are launched. Not in entirety, like today I was at W.H. Smith at the airport when I was coming here. My book was the book of the month, but the book in the charts, fiction charts, 1, 2, 3 were all Jeffrey Archer's.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so, yes.
It's beautiful. I think this evening is going to inspire a lot of you, those who want to write something and want to document something. So me, Unnati Singh, Ehsaas Women, on behalf of Prabha Khaitan Foundation, thank you all for being a part of this beautiful evening. I would like to thank our author, Anurag Tripathi, for one of the most interesting sessions of our conversationist, Mrs. Suchitra Sajid Dhanani, for a smooth conversation. Our sincere thanks to our hospitality partner, Sheraton Grand Palace, and my welcome friend, Surbhi Dhupar, Ehsaas Woman of Indore, print media partner Nai Duniya, and to She Cement for their support. Now you may please get your copy signed by our author. See you all soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
You like the questions? So
Yeah. Just a minute. We want to present a memento to our author.
Yes.
Because he should remember us that he came to Indore.
Oh, thank you.
Surbhi.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.